You're out cold, drooling on the pillow, snoring probably, completely unaware of anything around you. In every biological sense, you are helpless. Now picture this happening somewhere else. Not your bedroom, but a tent. Just thin nylon standing between you and a forest packed with animals that could kill you without much effort. Lions, bears, wolves, leopards. These creatures can hear your heart beating from across a clearing. They can smell you from a mile off. They can see in pitch darkness while your eyes stay shut the entire night. And yet, morning after morning, you wake up fine. Why does that keep happening? Stop and actually think about it. A sleeping person is basically just meat lying there. Slow meat, silent meat. Meat that can't fight, can't run, can't even register danger until it's already too late. You'd expect predators to circle campsites nightly like it's an open buffet, but they don't. Almost never. And the explanation isn't simple. It's layered, stacked with reasons that build on each other, forming something like an unspoken truce between people and the wild. Older than farming, older than cities, older than anything we normally call human history. Start with something that sounds arrogant but is really just plain biology. You are terrifying. Not you personally sitting there reading this, probably harmless. But humans as a species register as genuinely frightening to predators on an evolutionary level. We lack claws. We're slow. We're not especially strong for our size. Our night vision is weak. On paper, we look like a poorly designed animal. Yet a 2019 study from UC Santa Cruz researchers found something striking. They played recordings of ordinary human voices near mountain lions in California's Santa Cruz Mountains. Just people chatting, nothing aggressive. The cougars bolted. They fled at rates matching, sometimes exceeding how fast they fled from barking dogs. These are animals capable of dragging a full-grown deer uphill, yet a podcast sent them running. That wasn't a fluke either. The same researchers observed something even stranger. Pumas walking away from kills they were actively eating the moment human voices reached them. Fresh meat, already caught, abandoned on the ground. That's an enormous waste of energy for a predator. Calories spent hunting don't come back. Still, they left anyway, because staying near the sound of humans cost more than staying hungry did. Biologists have logged this same pattern worldwide. Lions in South Africa's Kruger National Park move less through zones with heavy human activity. Tigers across India steer wide around villages, even ones sitting in perfect tiger habitat. Jaguars deep in the Amazon reroute themselves to dodge places where people show up regularly. None of these animals are physically unable to attack humans. They've simply learned, generation after generation, that it isn't worth it. And that lesson runs brutally deep. Humans have hunted large predators so relentlessly for so long that we've literally reshaped their genetics. We've been active hunters for roughly 2 million years. We wiped out mammoths. We erased giant sloths, woolly rhinos, saber-toothed cats, and cave bears, species that survived entire ice ages but vanished shortly after we arrived nearby. In North America alone, we hunted wolves almost to extinction continent-wide and wiped mountain lions out of the entire eastern half. We trapped, shot, and poisoned predators so consistently that today's survivors descend directly from the ones who were most careful around us. That's not poetic language. That's raw, natural selection at work, shaping instinct itself. Bold lions that wandered into camps got killed off. Wolves that preyed near settlements got hunted down and eliminated. The cautious ones, the ones who kept their distance and avoided us, lived long enough to reproduce and pass that wariness forward. Over countless generations, caution turned into instinct, wired straight into the baseline behavior every large predator now carries whenever it shares territory with people. So when a leopard catches your scent at night, some ancient alarm quietly triggers inside it. Not conscious thought exactly, more like an inherited signal whispering, stay away, don't engage, keep moving. That warning traces back through every ancestor of that leopard who survived a close call with humans. It's biological memory, and it runs far deeper than we usually give it credit for. Now consider your smell, something you rarely think about because you're surrounded by other humans constantly. but to a predator with a nose ranging from 10 times to 100,000 times sharper than yours. You're broadcasting an intense, confusing chemical signal. Bears smell roughly 7 times better than bloodhounds. Wolves detect scents from nearly 2 miles out. Big cats even taste the air using a special organ called Jacobson's organ. When one of these animals encounters a sleeping human, it receives a flood of scent data, and much of it makes no sense. You smell like synthetic fabric, leftover processed food, soap, sunscreen, and bug spray, an artificial cocktail with zero equivalent anywhere in nature. Underneath all that, faintly, you smell like a primate. Not quite the deer or rabbit their instincts were built to recognize and chase. A predator's hunting drive isn't some generic urge to kill anything moving. It's precisely calibrated toward familiar prey shapes, sounds, and movement patterns built over millions of years. You simply don't match the template. You're an anomaly sitting outside their recognition system entirely. And for most predators, anomalies trigger hesitation and caution rather than aggression or attack. Then there's fire. Arguably one of the smartest accidental discoveries our species ever stumbled into. Nearly every land animal shows an instinctive fear of fire, not learned through experience, but hardwired from birth. Even lab-raised animals that have never encountered flames will flinch and retreat at the mere smell of smoke. That fear runs bone deep, embedded across species long before humans ever entered the picture. Humans harnessed fire somewhere between 1 and 2 million years ago, and sleeping beside it became routine almost immediately. We likely weren't just chasing warmth. Fire works as a repellent, broadcasting a message into the darkness. Something dangerous controls this flame. Stay clear. Predators absorbed that message across countless generations until avoidance became automatic, no translation required anymore. Movies love portraying predators as fearless killing machines, but that's fiction. Real predators are extremely cautious because survival demands it. A lion has no health insurance. A wolf gets no sick days. One serious wound, broken leg, torn eye, deep bite, can mean a slow, starving death. Every potential attack becomes a brutal cost-benefit calculation. Is this worth the risk of permanent injury? A sleeping human fails that calculation badly. First, unfamiliarity. Predators feel confident attacking prey they've studied endlessly, but humans behave unpredictably. We might scream, grab tools, or have allies nearby ready to respond violently. Second, size. Standing upright makes humans look larger and more threatening, similar to how gorillas rise up specifically to intimidate rivals. Even sleeping, our silhouette doesn't scream easy meal. Third, and maybe biggest of all, why bother? Healthy ecosystems offer easier, familiar prey nearby. Chasing something strange and risky when an impala or rabbit sits right there makes zero survival sense. Here's something rarely mentioned too. Your sleep isn't as deep as it feels. Scientists call this the sentinel function. Your brain quietly monitoring surroundings even during rest, flagging unfamiliar sounds fast. Ancestors who slept too heavily often never woke again. Lighter sleepers who could jump up instantly survived and passed that trait forward. Add the group factor, humans rarely camp alone. Predators understand herd dynamics deeply. They target isolated stragglers, not tight groups where one person waking triggers a chaotic collective response nobody wants to provoke. None of this makes anyone untouchable, though. Real attacks almost always involve broken circumstances. An injured predator, a starving one, or one that's lost its natural fear through repeated human contact. The Chavo lions of 1898 killed dozens of railway workers, but both were maneless males, one with severe dental damage limiting normal hunting. The Champawat tiger, blamed for hundreds of deaths, had shattered canine teeth from a gunshot wound. These weren't typical predators. They were desperate exceptions pushed by injury and circumstance. The pattern holds almost everywhere. Healthy predator, intact ecosystem, no scrambled signals like food left out, and the ancient truce stays intact. Strangely, our success at instilling fear now ripples outward unpredictably. Deer populations grow unchecked. Where pumas avoid humans, vegetation suffers, and smaller predators shift their ranges too. Everything shifts because we're there. radiating an inherited fear across the food web without ever touching most of these animals directly. The most dangerous creature on the planet figured out fire before farming, before writing, before anything else. It sleeps light, travels in groups, and carries thousands of generations of successful survival coded into its DNA. That's you. So next time you're zipped inside a tent, listening to unfamiliar sounds beyond thin nylon walls, and that flicker of ancient unease creeps in, let it. That instinct kept your ancestors alive long enough for you to exist. But whatever's shifting around out there in the dark, it isn't coming inside. It already knows better than to try.